everyone, it's Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am up today with day 16 in our Scrap September series, and it's our mood board challenge today. So here is a picture of the mood board, or an image. You can see lots of lovely blues and teals and just a little pop of kind of coral. And I'm creating this layout using a cut file from Confessions of a Paper Addict's cut file shop, and as you can see it says, "Are we there yet?" And I'm scrapping photos of my son on his first aeroplane journey. We went to New Zealand in July, and on the way over we got this bassinet. So some of the larger international planes have bassinets in them, and it was amazing because he slept basically the whole way. So that is what I am scrapping. That's the picture I'm scrapping, and I decided to go with mainly a monochrome look, except for my background piece of paper, which is the coral. Everything else are kind of the blue tealy colours, and that's how I've chosen to use the mood board today. So as always in September, we are joined by an amazing guest today, Moira O'Reilly, and she does heaps of cool videos, but she does a lot of like making her own kits, and she participates in I think lots of YouTube hops, but she does a particular one called How to Kill a Kit with Style that I really enjoy. So there's lots of lovely ladies that do that particular series, and they make up kits that they use for the month, and then at the end they kind of check in and see how they've gone using their kits. And I just really like that idea because, you know, it gets you using up your stash and to create your own kind of scrapbook kits to work with, which I think is fabulous. So yeah, Moira is really great. She does heaps of amazing layouts, and I'm really excited to have her join us today. So I don't know yet what she has created because we're sort of making our videos at slightly different times, but I'm super excited to go and watch her video. So I will link her down below so you can go and check her out. As always, I'll also have the playlist link down below as well, so you can see all of the previous videos, and we'll keep adding them sort of throughout the whole month, so that at the end all of the videos and all of the other people that participated in Scrap September will all be in that playlist, which will be a nice easy resource to go and watch through them all. So I should tell you what I'm doing, shouldn't I? That's why we're all here. So I am backing my photos at the moment, and this layout, I should probably also say, is using my Cocoa Vanilla Studio stash, and I've made a lot of layouts with this stash lately, but that's because I have a lot of Cocoa Vanilla. This is a whole lot of different collections all together. It just doesn't include the latest two collections, which are Happiness and Midnight. So those collections are currently separate. The boy collections are separate as well, but I keep the sort of more recent ones separate until I've kind of used up a little bit of them, and then I'll add them in with this stash after I've kind of had a play around with the full collections. So that's how I kind of work with my Cocoa Vanilla stash, because I have a lot. So yes, I'm backing my photos, and you can see here that I've used a lot of different papers from the collection, mainly stuck with the blue and teals, but I did also grab that wood veneer that you can see, wood grain paper that you can see on the left hand side. It's sort of a grey wood grain, and I wanted something a little bit more neutral to pair with the blues, the teals, and obviously the coral background paper that I'm using. So even though in the mood board the coral was sort of, I guess, an accent, I did decide to use this large piece of pattern paper in the coral because I liked the way that it looked. I'm really happy with how this whole thing came together, actually. I think it looks really cool. So I'm still backing my papers. I do 2 layers on the back of each, and I stick with the papers that I have used in backing the cut file as well. So I didn't sort of introduce any new use my words today. Any new pattern papers I kept with the ones that I'd used to back the cut file. So I used this wood grain paper only on the cut file in the signpost. So yeah, wanted, as I said, something just a little bit more neutral. I think there were some greys in the mood board as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I should go back and have a look at the image, so I've got it in front of me. But I do think that there was a little bit of grey, but let's have a look, okay? I can grab the image right here. Yeah, I thought, no, yeah, there is. There's a little bit of grey, so that worked well. So there we go, just positioning my cut file and my photos, just making sure that I know kind of roughly where I think it's going to go, and then I'm kind of putting my embellishments out again where I think they might go. I never used to do this, sort of plan out my layout in advance. I always would just sort of roll with it and go with the flow. And that is still my preference, I have to say. However, with having a small child who sometimes sleeps for a long time, sometimes doesn't, you sort of never really know how long I've got to scrap. So I take the time that I have. And so now what I find is I do a lot of planning, because if I have to go and get him up, it means I can't keep scrapping at that point. And I often come back to a layout hours, if not days, after I first started it. And so I lay everything out like this so that I know if I do have to stop and I come back kind of where my thinking was at the time, if that makes sense. So it does make putting my layouts together probably a little faster, actually, because if I do the stop and starting, I know when I'm coming back where I'm sort of up to and continuing on. I can sort of pretty much pick back up right where I left off without having to spend time going, where was my brain going with this layout? So that is what works for me currently. And if I'm scrapping at night, which I don't do very often anymore because I'm so tired, I find I can't think that much well at night anymore. So if I do have to sort of quickly finish up a layout at night, if I've already done the sort of planning and I'm just literally sticking things down, then it can work. If I have to do a lot of thinking, then it doesn't work the greatest for me. Oh, so I'm slightly off camera here, but I am actually cutting off the leaf of those flowers. There's only 2 flowers that I do that. The leaves are really, they're kind of a brighter green, a very different green to the leaves in the other flowers, and it didn't work. So I cut them off because I wanted to include the blue of the flower, but the leaf colour was just too jarring for the rest of the layout. So there are 2 of those that I said that I trim. So I'm going to stick my photos down now. I'm pretty happy with their placement. I do decide not to put that big doily die cut that was there. I don't include that on the layout, that goes. So I'm sticking the photos down and tucking under some of those layers that I had, which were a label and I think a ticket, which went under there. And then I'm sticking my photos flat to the page because I'm actually going to put the cut file up on foam, which you already saw, and stick those on top of the photos, if that makes sense. So the cut file will go on top of the photos and my photos stick flat down to the page. So no dimension on the photos this time, which is a bit unusual for me. Normally I do that. But because I wanted the cut file to kind of be the main element on the page, I suppose, I wanted to pop that up. And I didn't want to add too much more height to my layout because I have to fit them into an album, and already I will need 3 albums for this year, if not 4. And I'm not happy with that. Usually I have 2, but there is no way I'm going to fit 2 albums this year. I just take far too many photos with Link. So I'm definitely going to need 3, if not 4 albums. Oops, oh well. So I have stuck that cut file down, and now I'm going to create my clusters. So I'm working on the top right hand one. The banner was actually a sticker, so I just stuck that down. And then I've got another little banner here that says sweet, and I'm popping that up on some foam and then attaching that above or beside the coral banner. And then I've got a few flowers that I'm going to add to create this cluster as well, sticking some flat down and then popping a couple up on foam. So I have 2 different levels of foam. So I have dimensionals from Stampin' Up, which are not as high as the Kaiser Craft foam dots that I have. So it's kind of good actually, because it gives them a few different heights, which is a nice contrast. So I'm adding those, and now I'm working on my cluster on the bottom left. Anyone that uses iMovie, you might know that the little voiceover recording piece covers half of your layout while you are filming a voiceover, and you can't really see what's happening underneath. So I'm guessing that I'm working on my clusters down the bottom because I can't really see. I think now I'm working on the right hand cluster, as again you can kind of see through it, but you can't really see through it. That is the one thing I don't like about iMovie on my phone. So the bottom right cluster uses a ephemera piece that says Dream Big, and I decided to put that on because Link is asleep in that photo. So he was fast asleep in the bassinet, which looks like a cage. That's why I took so many photos in it. You have to put the kind of seatbelty bit over the top of them. I'm not really sure. I mean, it stops them jumping out, I suppose. A big baby wouldn't fit in this bassinet anyway. Link was, I think, 5 months old when we went to New Zealand, and he fits, but you wouldn't want a too much bigger baby in there because, you know, there wouldn't be that much room. So, yes, I guess it's to stop those babies who can pull themselves up to maybe throw themselves out of the bassinet. But, oh, this was a godsend. I was so glad we got the bassinet. It just made the trip so much easier. On the way home, we were in a really small plane, like a domestic size plane, and it was hell. And Link actually was quite good. There was just not enough room. So it was not a nice trip. And it was only a 4-hour flight, but whew, it was hard work. So I'm adding some butterflies to the layout now. So I'm adding a couple of butterflies to the flowers that form part of the cut file. I've got a little coral butterfly that I'm adding, and then a little blue butterfly. I actually add 3 butterflies to the layout. And I decided to add a couple of ephemera pieces to the cut file because even though I don't class them as clusters necessarily, I just thought it was cute to add a couple of other little details to the cut file. So I add that little butterfly up the top of the signpost there, and then I'm basically done. I considered adding those hearts on the right hand side, but I actually decided to add some hearts in the enamel dots. I'm not sure what collection these enamel dots were from, but they are Coco Vanilla Studio enamel dots, and they've got love heart enamels and dot enamels, and so I use the love heart ones on this layout. So I stuck with the white, the minty colour, and the grey, and I just add 3 love heart enamel dots, enamel shapes, not dots, onto each of the 3 main clusters, and that is going to finish the, I guess, you know, embellishing part of the layout. And now I am, of course, adding splatters. I add the Heidi Swapp Colour Shine in navy. And that's it. That's the end. I really hope you've liked this layout. I loved how this came together. I'll try to also remember to link to this cut file too from Virginia's shop, Confessions of a Paper Addict, because it's a great one. And I just thought it worked really well with the flying photos and the travel theme. And definitely go check out Moira's video and check out her take on our mood board. I'm sure she's done a marvellous layout, and I'm so excited to go and watch her video. I hope you're enjoying our series so far. We are loving putting them together for you. I think we're almost halfway, which is exciting. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed it. Please go and watch Moira's video. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you tomorrow. All right, guys. Bye.